Hello, I'm Jody, Wolfe, and you're watching Expoz, November 29, 2019, 11:27 p.m. in Birmingham. And topic, this is multiple short subjects. And what made it interesting was a couple of things that Jack Van Impe said a long, long time ago, 30 years before I knew of Steve Quayle, and how both of them talked about the same subject 30 years apart and both came with the same answer, which is interesting because it talks about the gap theory, the time between Genesis 1 and Genesis 1 2. So that was interesting what I listened to, and none of them put anything about a length of time except that there was a long time between the two. And someone asked Jack Van Impe, I know this is over 20 years ago, I'm going to say 25 to 28 years ago, maybe 30, asked him, and his wife, Rexella, read what the viewer asked. He said, do you believe that there were cities here prior to Noah's flood? And then he said, I'll rephrase that, were there cities here prior to Adam and Eve? Jack Van Impe said at the deepest trenches on this planet, there were great cities that so far in advance of our own today that we wouldn't believe it if we saw it. That was over 30 years ago. I promise it was at least that, maybe longer. Then Steve Quayle is on the gap theory. He said there is a very intelligent civilization, far greater than ours today. And he said that was perhaps millions of years old. So I personally believe, when you read the Bible and you start out and it said, God said, let there be. Well, there was a point where let there be, and then you get to another and it says, and he said once again, let there be light. And I was always confused because the first day ended at sundown and saw that it was very good. And I said, but wait a minute, over here it starts out and that it was a formless thing there that God worked with. But anyway, after creating the heavens and the earth was without form and void. But then he goes over here and talks about other things, and this is where the separation that these two men, Jack Van Impe and Steve Quayle, said occurred. So another subject, someone commented on a blog, my blog, 4 blogs ago, the one that, okay, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry, but let me look at my page, and if I look at my page, I'll tell you which blog it is. The one titled Israeli News, When Will War Begin? So either that or the hornet's nest. But one of them, somebody made a very ugly statement about Donald Trump. He said that Donald Trump should be more about other things than being about his daughter. And he made a very ugly statement, and I removed it. I just want to tell you that. I just took it off the screen. It's not there. And I don't if I hear it again, then this guy will never make a comment on any of my pages. So just want to tell you that. I don't know what he thinks, but I'm not thinking with him. So we got the gap theory, the cities, and then you have, and I mentioned Pelosi, Sanders, Searles, Kissinger, Hitler. You know, what are all these having in common? They all are Jews, and they all hate the Jews. Did you know Hitler would even do a DNA type test if they had 1/64th part Jew, then kill him? In other words, he went all the way back, all the way down to just your uncle's fifth cousin's son-in-law, stuff like this. Well, I've got more Jew in me than that, and I'd certainly been killed. But 1/64th is the amount that he wanted to make sure he got that much and killed that many Jews. No telling where he would have kept going to or ended had he not been stopped. And in Birmingham, Alabama, a Confederate monument. Finally, the courts decided you have no right to cover it up, uncover it immediately, and the fine will be $25,000. And then somebody made a comment, no, $25,000 a day that you don't uncover it. Well, let me tell you something better than that on Birmingham, Alabama. If you go up the steps of the courthouse on 21st Street, when you start up the steps, on the right-hand side, columns, these are the steps, and then you have the handrails, which are cement columns. If you look at the columns, the bottom column, there's a swastika. Top column on the right, there's a swastika. The same on the left, the bottom and the top. They're on the Birmingham, Alabama courthouse handrails. And it's big, expensive, looks like marble, I'm sure it is. Engraved swastika 4 times. People, look at that. And you're talking about the Confederacy, the Confederate monument. Look at that. You don't even know that swastika's on there. All right, let's go somewhere else. I had this to happen to me, and I don't tell too many people, I don't go back too far on these things, but age 6, I was in a fire. And I was lucky that someone was able to see me and act. It was a neighbor across the alley on another street hosing off a rug. And I don't know how big the rug was. I just remember that's what I heard. She was hosing off the rug when I was on fire. She saved my life. And so I spent a good while in the hospital when I was age 6. I should have died. That's what I was told. But the things that's happened since then, and just thinking back, I was pulling, me and my best buddy had buggies, dune buggies that we built, and he stalled on a hill. And I took one of these hooks, toe straps, and hooked it around his window frame on his buggy. Thought, well, I didn't hook it, he did. He just hooked it on it rather than wrapping around the roll bar. And I went to pull him uphill. I had the more powerful motor, and I was doing pretty good, except it broke the frame. That strap came hurling at me, and my roll bar that was the center of my back of my head, 2 inches away from my head when that hook hit that bar, inch and a quarter steel fence pipe that's bent, that hook embedded over halfway into that pipe. And it would have been the very center of my spine, right here where my neck and my head all comes together 2 times. I had a tractor, and I started building a house and I had 2 lots. I bought 2 lots and about 7 point something acres, and one of them already had a decent drive that I didn't want to do anything but leave it that way, and maybe one day I'll come back and do something, but I would park my equipment there. So one day I did not have an Expedition because I didn't make them at that time, but I had an Explorer, and I was pulling up my tractor, my front end loader. And when I got up there, I had the Explorer just very slightly got on a little bit of a hill, not much. So I got off, put the emergency brake on, put it in park and all this stuff, let the ramps down and started backing off my tractor. All I know is the whole back end of the Explorer lifted up off the ground, and we're all, me, the Explorer, the tractor, and the trailer, rolling down that hill backwards. And it starts off the side of the hill. There's a 22-foot drop. Start off the side of the hill. I should not have gotten off of that thing, because I dove to the left. Had I went to the right, that thing would have landed on me. Had I gone to the left, the trailer itself flipping would have caught me and kicked me further down. I went to the left. All I remember is when I dusted myself off, the tractor was down yonder. The car somehow stopped as the tractor left the trailer. Then the trailer come back to the ground and dug into the bank, but it was halfway off of the hill. That's 3 times I should have died. And I did not learn from my mistakes. I had a front end loader, and I'm talking about a 939 hydrostat in my dump truck, and I'm pulling up to another job site to clear off some land for a guy. He wants to build some storage warehouses off I-65 in Alabaster, Alabama. And here I am, and what am I thinking? But I'm backing the loader off of my lowboy. And the weight of that loader was greater than I thought. I thought I dialed it in correctly. I did not. Lifted the dump truck off of the ground, and here we go down the hill backwards. I said, oh no, but I had enough thought in me. Hydrostat, remember that. It's only a joystick about 6 inches long. Left, right, back, forth. I mean, just like you playing on a little machine. Just with my right hand, with my thumb, just pushed it forward 1/2 of an inch. And that tractor back up on that trailer, and that trailer dug into the ground, and we stopped. Thank God. And then one other time, going off a hill backwards with a dune buggy and with 5 people in it with me. It reared up, and I just released or pushed the clutch in to cause it to roll back down the hill. Nobody fell off. Nobody got hurt. But then I got everybody off. And then I went up the hill, and it flipped on me. If everybody's on it, how many would it have killed? And then one last time, the day I started on the police, or the day before I started on the police department back in 1973, I was in a dune buggy that I had built, me and my little brother, driving like idiots. And we hit one of these holes they dig out in the interstate before they pave them and pack them. And they put the stick in, and they got the pink flag on it. And this is the height that they're going to pour the slab. And this hose are about 3 to 4 foot in diameter. And I'm just, scooting down it. And it's about time to head home. So I yank the wheel, and we spin sideways, and rear tire drops in that hole, and I flip the buggy. It crushes my left arm. We stayed in it. We didn't come out, thank God, but should have. I'm just trying to tell you that God saves our life every friggin' day, whether we know it or not. Somehow, some way, God saved our life. At least once every 2 or 3 days. Something happens that you never know because you're not aware of it. Doesn't mean it didn't happen or would not have happened if he hadn't changed it. He's there. And those are just some of the things. And I can come up with 2 times more than that with that much thought. Look, guys, God's there. He's there. Make Jesus the Lord of your life so that when you do something stupid like me, and if you do die as a result, you're safe. Jody, Wolfe, Expoz.